Oh boy, we're halfway through August, Anthony. August 17th, and we're going to take a trip to New York City today. How do you feel about that?
I cannot wait. It's one of my favorite hotels in all the world.
Yeah, and the last time pre-COVID, you and I hung out. Let's find out where
That's right.
is.
That was the last place.
Sorry. Yeah, so some could say, Anthony, that was like our first show because we each drove into Manhattan. We did a special episode with Dr. Ronald Primus, and we were learning all about COVID, what the situation was. Then we went and we had a little bit of food over at the Mark Hotel and a drink before driving home, and boy, did everything hit the wall right after that.
Yeah, and it was interesting because when we went in there, it was already starting to creep in, and shut the restaurants down. Won't they shut the restaurants down? And you already saw on the streets of New York it's slowing down, and in the hotel you started seeing them taking precautions. And so it was, I remember when they shut down, they took a picture and said we'll be back, and then they reopened. And I remember that to me was the touchstone for the hotels in New York City because the Mark is legendary, and I'm never in that part of the city and not going to the Mark Hotel. And they do amazing things. But one of the things that really gets your attention is they do this flower cart on the street that they sell flowers for. Matter of fact, I just remember we did a podcast.
Right.
You remember Lisa from Celebrity Cruise Lines?
Correct.
So we
did it in a suite there.
We did it in her suite, and I did an impromptu buy because I was coming in. I was like, oh, she's inviting us to her suite for this interview. Why don't I just grab some flowers?
Right.
And, they're not inexpensive. And I bought them because they were right there and they were easy to buy and they were beautiful. And she was, oh, my God, thank you very much. And then when I came out, I had a hot dog because they have a hot dog stand there, which I love. And I just did. And then you're sitting in the lobby. And I remember sitting there one day, maybe a year ago, and I won't name the names because I don't know if they were staying there and I don't want to interrupt their privacy. But I would tell you 5 A-list celebrities while I was in the lobby walked right past me.
Well, I remember eating a meal with an A-list celebrity, hanging out with you, that is, Anthony, at that hotel. Boy, is that...
If A-list celebrity is a D-list celebrity, then I'm your guy.
You know what I also liked? I liked we went there once for a lunch after we interviewed Lisa that day, and I really liked it because I just felt like one of those ladies at lunch for a living. So it was a nice feeling for a moment to be able to have that lifestyle.
I was in that room a couple years ago, and there was about 6 ladies at lunch. And they all have Brooklyn accents. I go, wow, ladies at lunch have Brooklyn accents.
Hey, what are you talking about?
It's a legendary historic hotel, and they just won one of the most difficult awards in the world to win. And I'm really excited to have the general manager on, and it's an honor.
And here he is, Manuel Martinez. Manuel Martinez, general manager of the Mark Hotel in New York City. Welcome aboard. You were recently named top hotel in New York City and the top one in the country, too, by Travel and Leisure magazine. Is that true?
That is true.
Amazing.
Good afternoon, Glenn. Good afternoon, Anthony. Happy to be here with you, gentlemen.
You're such a slacker.
Yeah. In fact, Manuel was supposed to be on a few weeks ago, and then they were bestowed this honor, and then, boy, you had to go deal with the whole flood of press and all of that kind of stuff. So congratulations on that. And we're just glad that we were able to reschedule you here for today. So welcome aboard.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, there's so much to dissect and ask questions about. But if you would, I just got off off a Zoom call with a bunch of young hospitality experts that are hospitality students that just won a very prestigious award. Glenn, why don't you talk about that, and I'll tell you more about it.
So the hospitality hackathon just took place. And if you were here on last Monday's show, we featured the winners of that episode. So be sure to check it right after the segment with Mr. Chip Rogers. And essentially, teams from all over the world competed in this hackathon to find solutions that hoteliers can implement now in the post-COVID era. The whole concept was figure out ways to do it inexpensively and fast while using the ingenuity of all of the students out there. And Anthony, boy, did they do a great job. So many great teams on the undergraduate level and graduate level competing around the world. And you got the chance to speak to the winners.
I got to speak to them this morning, and they were all over the world. The school was from Switzerland, but the kids are now in their home countries, Russia, Italy, America. And it was just great to talk to them. And we were supposed to talk for an hour. I talked for more than that. And I got more out of it than they did. And, one of the things that we talked about is tenacity and the ability to overcome a lot of obstacles. So, Manuel, I'd like to talk a little bit about your career and kind of where you started and what was the seed that kind of got you in the industry, and a little bit, and where you are now. And then we can talk about the market and the award and everything. But I like people, especially young hospitality kids that are coming into this industry now, during COVID, their first question was, should I stay in the business? And so obviously there's a lot of anxiety out there no matter what field you're in. But since we've got hit one of the hardest industries, and obviously, as you can imagine, I was very enthusiastic about them staying in the industry. But I'd like to hear about your background.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity, right? I think definitely in order to be in this business, you have to love it, right? You have to be really passionate.
Yep.
This is not the type of business where you're going to work 7 to 3, where you're going to just have all your weekends off. It's amazing, the opportunity that we have to connect with the people. And I think that this is the best reward that we have, right? The memories that we create with our guests. We're in the business of creating those memories, and definitely we have to be passionate and authentic about what we're doing on a daily basis. So as you can notice from my accent, I'm not from New York. I'm not from around here.
You sound like you're from the Bronx. What are you talking about?
Yeah, more or less. I'm originally from Madrid, from Spain, where I was born and raised. And I studied in the hospitality school. I studied in there business management and sommelier, as my main background is food and beverage. I'm very passionate about all what this food and beverage about is part of my culture, is part of the Mediterranean countries. And this is where I started my career. My first job in this business was as a stewarding. That was the first job that I had when I was 17 to pay my driving license. And from there, I managed to go up into hourly supervisor management department head level up to executive. And this is my third role as general manager in the amazing Mark Hotel in New York. So through my career, I have worked in different brands, mainly in Europe. I have worked in Madrid, Marbella. I have worked in Krakow and Warsaw in Poland. I have worked, this is my fourth property in New York City, and I have worked in 2 different properties in Washington, D.C. area. And I think that the most rewarding thing out of what I have learned in my career is having the opportunity to meet people, right? Having the opportunity to make a difference, to think out of the box, to break the routine, and really think that success is never final. What we did yesterday is history, and it's all about what are we going to do today for our guests. And when I mean guests, it's about for our internal guests and our external guests. I think that the success starts when you are a team motivated, aligned, and engaged. And I'm talking, of course, about all our associates, employees, ladies and gentlemen, you name it. So here we are in the post-COVID era, still going in this transition in between phase 1 and phase 2, being the first luxury property open in New York. And I would say so far so good, right? Not without challenges, but definitely trying to make sure that everybody have the safest and healthiest stay ever, if possible, at the moment.
So what's it like creating an environment that people could feel comfortable in the luxury environment in this particular age? The challenge is tough. Right. You're the number 1 pick in the entire country for delivering great experiences and making people feel safe and secure. So what are you doing at your hotel to make sure guests feel that way and you can continue to win awards?
Yeah. So at the end, what we have done, Glenn, is to reimagine the entire experience, right? When we decided that we're going to open the hotel, and we did in June 15th, we have to, of course, count with information from the World Health Organization, the CDC, and the Hotel and Lodging Association of North America. So we put a document together to really understand what we can do to really make sure that all our guests, internal and external, have a safe work environment, and definitely understand how we're going to reimagine our guest experience, right? We are an amazing hotel, and we were thinking about what are we going to really do to set the mark at the mark? What are we going to do really to make sure that we presented on arrival to our guests something that it's gonna be something that they're gonna use, something that it's along with our brand, something that it's very nicely and thoroughly done. And we came across with our safety kit. I'm gonna show it to you. So this is what every single guest received this way. What every single guest received at the mark on arrival. And this is something that it was already done in the month of April. I was seeing something like that coming, and I wanted to make sure that whenever we open the doors, we were facilitating this to our guests.
Right.
So the first thing that the customers will have, it's a welcome note from my end, where basically there are 3 bullet points where I'm asking them to wear the mask in public spaces, to use hand sanitizer and wipes, and to use gloves. And definitely asking customers to maintain social distance. I can guide you later about how many initiatives we have put in place. In this pouch, you're going to find a branded hand sanitizer, a pair of black gloves.
Cool.
We have as well disinfectant wipes. And I think that the most significant item out of all the safety kit, which is our branded mask. All right.
I love that.
Yeah. So feedback from our guests is phenomenal. Customers really like what we have put together, but this is only one part out of all the things that we are doing in the hotel, right? We have to understand that this pandemic is hitting everybody all over the world, and we really want to make sure that the guests, when they're coming in here, feel comfortable to stay with us. So the top priority, as I said, is maintaining our employees, our guests, and our community safe. We're on Upper East Side, in between Madison and Fifth Avenue, 77th Street, and we are very big in our local community, right? I mean, with our Michelin award chef Jean George, our restaurant is one of the meeting points for Upper East Side, and definitely
absolutely. Yeah.
So, what are we doing? Which I think is one thing that I feel very proud of. Every single guest, first of all, before we opened the hotel, we disinfected the entire hotel.
Of course.
From bottom to top. And now, every time that a room is occupied, the room is treated. It's treated with a 3-step process that we are doing with one company that they are phenomenal. The name of this company is Rios, and they are working with us 7 days a week, doing a 3-process step. But first one is dry cleaning the room with 212 degrees vapor. Then they apply disinfectant, EPA and hospital grade approved, to really make sure that they kill every single potential virus or bacteria in the room. And they're using airless sprayers. And then after that, they're doing a cleaning of the high touch point areas with additional disinfectant. And I'm talking about the switches, I'm talking about the drawers, I'm talking about cabinets. And after that, our housekeeping department gets into the room and basically clean on top of that the room. So needless to say that all the linen and terry is discarded. We have removed all the collateral, all the compendium, magazines that we used to have in the room, and now we have placed everything digital. We have included all this information in our TVs, and they are sent to the guests as well via pre-arrival communication through an email, and it's available as well through WhatsApp or text message. So all these things definitely are protocols that we have put in place to make sure that for both guests and employees, cleaning the room is done properly. It's easier for our employees, and definitely these are a process that we have implemented that we revise as soon as we get feedback, or as soon as there are some changes in the steps or the guidelines that we receive from the CDC or the Hotel Association.
Right. Now, all that makes a lot of sense to me, but I got to tell you, I'm going to take you back a little way to that little gift pack that you're giving everybody. The one thing that I think is a little different, a little cool, obviously the mask is pretty awesome, but I like that you're giving gloves, and I really like that they're black. They look less hospital-like, more hospitality-like, figures in with the brand colors and all of that. I like that. It's a little something to give people a little bit more safety and security. So how are guests responding to what you're doing?
Guests love it. Let me tell you, Glenn, that even before we open in June 15th, I was in touch with different guests that they have to come to New York to do some business. And they told me, we are not going to New York. I'm not heading to New York till you open the hotel, because your hotel is our home away from home, right?
Right.
So as I mentioned before, we have a very thorough pre-arrival email that we send to the guests where all these measures in place are explained. And then we go through that as well on arrival. So my team at the front desk, that they're doing a phenomenal job. They always try to explain this to the guests. And some of our guests told me, or tell my team, don't bother. I know that I'm at the right place, and I know that you are doing the right thing. So some guests just trust us, which is phenomenal, right? And
Right.
I think that we are delivering above their expectations, which is phenomenal, right? But as I said before, success is never final, and we really have to be on top of every single detail every single day. Some of the guests really are very curious about what we're doing, and
Right.
we have guided through everything. So I remember that we have a guest who basically told us, guide me through all what you have done in the hotel, and we did. You know, from all our employees that they're wearing the mask and the PPE, from the tissue that we have put on the elevators for the customers to avoid that they're touching the elevator bottoms. We have placed hand sanitizer in public areas. There's hand sanitizer as well in every single lift landing. So guest feedback it's phenomenal. I really think that nowadays with the actual situation that we have, creating everlasting memories is difficult, but I think that we are really getting there. We have raving reviews lately of guests who have been staying with us in the hotel. And I think that I'm very proud of what my team is doing, because it's always easy to move forward and deliver business and excellence in service when the things are all right, when you are acting as normal. But nowadays it's a completely different game plan, and I think that the plan that we have put in place with the collaboration of everybody, it's sensational. I think that our guests really feel the love, feel the passion, and they feel as well that they are in a very safe and healthy environment.
You know what's interesting is you won the award, #1 hotel in America, not because of your COVID procedures. You
Right.
won that award, when you were basically before, like I think you were closed when you just closed when the award came out, whatever it was. But it had nothing to do with your COVID procedures. Now, if you look at the way you guys are running the hotel, that's the reason you won the award. Listen, when you're running a hotel like you, and I'll be honest with you, a secret of mine is to have your job one day.
You just ruined it, Anthony. Now he's going to be prepared.
It's one of the hotels I've dreamt about as a young manager wanting to run. So it speaks to you. If you've never been there, please go to the Mark Hotel. There's something about it. But you were already a cut above, right? You guys were a cut above. And like you said, if I went to your hotel, I don't care. Give me the kit. I'll put the mask on, the gloves. I know you did it right. I know you cleaned everything. I'm taking my shoes off. I'm walking around the room. I'm not taking my disinfectant and cleaning the room again like I do in every other hotel room. It's the Mark. Of course it's done right. It's without saying. And that is just not only you and not only your team, but decades of teams that have built a culture among generations of guests. Because when you stay in a hotel like this, your grandfather stayed in this hotel, your father stayed in this hotel, your grandmother, and everybody stays, the family stays at the Mark. We're not going to go do business. We're not going to go buy a piece of real estate. We're not even going to go visit anyone in the city until our home is opened, which happens to be the Mark Hotel. And I just want people to understand that is not a moment. That is decades and years of professionals like you and the ownership of the hotel to understand, because this stuff isn't cheap. The way you're doing it isn't inexpensive. And so if you don't mind paying the extra rate, because the Mark Hotel is a 5-star hotel, it's a luxury hotel, that's what you get. You get peace of mind. And you
Absolutely.
can get peace of mind.
Yeah,
for it.
I couldn't agree more. I think that you just mentioned that, and you're on spot. I think that the word is peace of mind, and at the end, I think that this is what we are really trying to do in the hotel, right? Talking about what you said about how we have built this hotel together. Definitely, the Mark Hotel is, and the creative team that they put this hotel together. It has been a very hard work of over 10 years. Since the hotel was open, right? And I think that the owners of the hotel, Mr. Sembahar, Mr. Elias, really put a lot of effort and time and consideration in doing everything phenomenally. For those who haven't been in our hotel, I think that our room product is really phenomenal. It's timeless. It's designed by the iconic French designer Jack Ranch. And the review that we have from our guests, those who are coming in here, is they really feel at home, right? The guests, when they're coming to the mark, they feel that they're at home, because we don't have a stereotype or a standard room product. We have a residential product. Every piece of furniture, every piece of artwork is bespoke for our hotel, and it was custom made for different international craftsmen commissioned by our hotel owners and Jack Ranch. I think that this is what it makes the mark really unique. Also, for those who haven't been in here, and I can tell you that they have been really, really busy since we opened, is our beauty entrepreneur, Frederick Fekai. We have the salon located on the second floor of the hotel. And I can tell you, after many different people loyal to Fekai who couldn't come to the hotel, who couldn't come to the salon because it was closed, as soon as they reopened the door, there has been booming, right? So by far, this is one of the unique selling points of the hotel as well, together with our beautiful lobby that everybody has seen for sure in different pictures on Instagram, as we are the epicenter of the Met Gala with our beautiful lobby designed in white and black stripes. So it's a combination of many different people, but at the end, we have to keep this. We have to keep this going, right? I mean, it's phenomenal, the product that we have, but what it really makes it unique and special is how passionate we are delivering service, and how the team is really evolving daily, personalizing the experience for our guests, and really working really hard to make sure that no details are missed for our guests.
And I think as a community, since I'm from New York, and the community of the way we went about this for 5 months, and I don't care about politics, but you have to give the governor credit of how we went about this. And the reason you're able to get open is because everybody recognizes that New York is now one of the lowest places in America for COVID. And I would imagine some of your guests that were going to go to LA or go to Vegas or go to other parts of the state, the country, are now going, and they're probably either extending in New York or they're coming to New York instead because of that. So it's really a team effort of New Yorkers to really do the right thing. And when you opened, I realized, like, oh, thank God, because there's so many hotels that haven't opened, and it's just heartbreaking. You know, it's just heartbreaking. So to know that there's a place where you can go and feel comfortable and safe is really important to travelers and to New Yorkers.
It is. It is. But let me tell you, when we opened, funny enough, we opened because we see some demand, right? And we saw our demand. I'm not going to say that there's a lot of demand in the city, right? Hopefully it's going to come back. Hopefully in September, all my competitors that they're managed for many friends of mine, right? In Midtown and here in Upper East Side are going to open. That would be an indicator that the business is back and the demand is out there, right? But our demand was enough to consider reopening, because those guests who wanted to come to New York, they told us, we're going to be with you. Right. If I can add something as well, I think that what is interesting for us is that we have seen the demand of travelers coming from the tri-state area, and the demand that it's coming is a very last minute, right? So we have seen from members or family members that they're coming to help one to another to move in or out from New York. We have seen some medical visits, because you know that we are close to the Presbyterian Hospital, we are close to Lenox Hill and Mount Sinai Hospital. But definitely we are expecting to see hopefully more demand coming in the month of September, and hopefully the business travel, even if it's local, is going to come up to the city.
So what kind of occupancy have you been running so far? And when other hotels start opening come September, do you think that's going to really affect you negatively or positively?
Well, I think that if the demand increase in the city, that will be beneficial for us, you know, but we understand as well that we are the only luxury property open right now in New York City. Wow. We are coping with pretty much all the demand that is out there. Right. Is the demand enough? I would say, no, it's not, right? Mm-hmm. Are we doing good? I think that, yes, so far, I think that we beat our forecast for the month of July, and I think we're going to have a decent month of August.
What do you consider decent?
You don't ask
August of 2020.
You don't ask people at the Mark Hotel, especially the general manager, what his occupancy is going to be.
Definitely because I cannot share in numbers where we are.
No, Anthony, I'm having fun watching him avoid answering my direct questions.
Listen, typically, I want to talk about this for a second because I think that's very interesting. Because when you asked the question the first time, I kind of went, "Oh, don't do that," because in most hotels, that's a question I would ask and I have no problem. When you're at the top of the heap in New York City and your competition is so intense, the last thing you want to do, especially during something like this, is to share the numbers. One, you don't want anybody to know. And number two, those numbers may not sound good to you, but they know what their rate is and they know what they need to pay their bills. So that number may seem low to you or maybe too high to you, who knows? So it's a very discreet question when you're asking the general manager of a hotel like that. So that's why I kind of cringed a little bit when you asked the thing. And I knew he wouldn't answer it.
Thank you, Anthony.
You're welcome.
But let me tell you something. This is.
With that said, though, let me.
Well, how many people are staying in your hotel every night then?
Let me follow that up with. This is an opportunity that hopefully will never come back again. Meaning, he has an opportunity. Think about this, Clyde. He has an opportunity. And again, you got to look at the hotels we're talking about. He's competing with the best hotels in the world, and he's definitely competing with the best hotels in New York City.
Well, he is the best hotel in New York City, according to Travel and Leisure, right?
That guest is so discerning. That guest is so difficult to move to another luxury hotel. It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible for them to move. So when you have an opportunity where you're the only luxury hotel open, and if you did stay at one of his competitors and you had to stay in that hotel, even if you didn't want to because it's the competitor, that's an opportunity that doesn't come along because now they're going to get that guest, and that guest's probably not going to go back to their other hotel because they're going to do something so extreme, which they do. Their service is so good that they're not going to get. So there's an opportunity there as much as there's a challenge to get competitive guests that you wouldn't have gotten 6 months ago.
You're 100% right. You're right. And I think that, to be honest, what I would love to see is that New York is opening back. That all hotels, luxury and non-luxury, are opening back. It's heartbreaking when you hear that there are 9 out of 10 employees in the hotel industry that they're unemployed, right? This is very sad. Hopefully soon, right?
Right. This is New York City, not nationally, just so everybody understands.
Only New York City, right? And I think I would love to see all my competitors coming back and bring their teams back to operation, because this would mean that the business is back, that the demand is there, that everybody understands that, we have to continue with our lives, and hopefully the vaccine is going to help us to move in the right direction, right? So far, we are not there yet, and let's see. I think we just have to take one month, one day at a time. I mean, I'm not going to say 1 month at a time, because today's Monday, and we always have a call every single day with our sales team, and we discuss what is the pickup, right? So I asked my director of revenue management, have we moved anything from September? You can imagine the answer, right? The answer is no, nothing, absolutely nothing. So everything is very last minute, but at the end, we are ready, we are flexible, and we have to be ready to deliver these last minute requests from our customers who decide to come last minute to New York City.
So frequent listener Daniel Dragovich says he's very proud of you, Manuel, for doing the best to shine. We really need this, and I'll add somebody like you in your role. Anthony?
So let me tell us about the moment that you opened the doors again.
Great question.
Put the call out to the team.
Yeah.
Now you all literally open those doors together. Tell me about that day, that moment, that feeling.
Yeah, it was exciting. And let me tell you, it was very exciting, and it was challenging. And I could see in my closest management team that they were the first one that came over here a couple of weeks before we opened the hotel. I could see some sort of anxiety,
emotion,
happiness as well, because they were always very happy, and they were still happy to have a job, right? I sent an email to my team the other day that the subject of that email was Thanksgiving in August. We are lucky to be here right now. We are lucky to have a job. We are lucky to have benefits, and we have to be very grateful to our hotel owners. That is not only that we are open, is that we are here and we are taking every single step that we need to make sure that we operate the hotel in a very safe environment. So definitely the first meeting that we have with around 15 to 20 managers, it was all about safety and security. It was all about understanding what it's going to be our new norm. It was time to understand what have happened, what are the tools that we have now, what is the information that we know right now about the COVID, and what are we going to put in place. And in these 2 weeks that we have, since we all came back to work and we opened the doors of the mark in June 15th, it was when we took the base of the Stay Safe document from the Hotel and Lodging Association and the CDC and World Health Organization to put our new SOPs, to really make sure that we put a very, very comprehensive and tangible training plan, not only for the managers, as well for all hours. Everybody who is coming back to work, before we put them into their positions, they're going through training to understand how to stop the spread of the virus, how to use the protective equipment, how to social distancing, and how to really make sure that they're complying with that. Because at the end, we are, needless to say, we're on this together, and we want everybody to comply with it. Everybody was very happy to come back.
If I can say something, which I thought was interesting. You said we have to be thankful for having a job and having benefits.
Yeah.
And I think, like, when a person like you says that, because when you listen, I want your job. Everybody thinks I have the most exciting job in the world. I know the secret. Okay. The secret is you have the best job in the world. I know that. Okay. And that you recognize that in your position, it's like, I don't take it for granted. You worked really hard to sit in that seat, man. You beat out a lot of hoteliers around the world to sit in that seat. And have the gratefulness that, hey, I got benefits and I got a job. Like, because we forget, we think somehow you're some kind of angel that just kind of fell into this,
right?
Yeah. And you're just so lucky, and like you're just this, you're just a lucky guy. And the work and effort that you put into it, to be so grateful for that, is really, I think, telling. And everything you're talking about is you keep coming back to policies, procedures, and rules, and making people feel comfortable. And some people just talk about policies and procedures, but they don't have the heart behind it. Because policies and procedures, just put up policies and procedures to make everybody feel comfortable, is not what you're doing. You're doing something that if your grandmother that was coming in, that you would make sure that she felt really, really comfortable. And there's a soul to that. And so when young kids are looking at this show or looking at you, I want them to come in this industry. This is because I was just talking to a whole bunch of kids for an hour and a half from all over the world. And I said exactly what I'm watching in front of me and what people are hearing on the podcast is that heart and soul of one young lady. She was from Russia, and she was talking to me just about an hour ago. She may be watching right now. And she said, it's hard out there and it's tough and people aren't answering my phone calls. And I asked her a question. I said, is this something that you need to do? She goes, this is something I want to do. I said, well, when you need to do it, continue to do it. Until you need to do it, it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, you're not going to, like you said, the 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can't, but with passion alone and want alone is not enough to sit in the seat that you sit in. You have to need to do what you do. You wouldn't want anybody else in that seat to do it because you can do it with your team at a very high level. So again, thank you for saying that. I thought that was really important to
Thank you. And it's coming from here, right? And at the end, it's what I said to my team. Yes, we need SOPs. Yes, we need foundation to work, but we cannot be robotic, right? I mean, the standards are there to really follow guidelines, but we really have to understand our guests. And what I said, it's really because I think it's the right thing. I feel it. I have to be very grateful for having a job right now. I have people who I know that they have lost their jobs, not only United States, all over the world. I have friends in the 5 continents that they're struggling, right? And our industry is going to suffer, right? But I really know that New York is going to go through this. New York is, the capital of the world. I'm very lucky to be here, and I think that any given day we're going to start to deliver more great news out there. Not only because the market is open, it's because all the hotels, like in our concept in Upper East Side or in New York, are going to start opening, and we're going to bring back employees that they really needed. Because behind every single person, there's a family, right? And I think it's something that we have to think about.
I think when we all go back and they have the first Forbes travel guide party, wherever it is, I can't wait to get there, because I think in going to those kind of parties and going to those kind of events and those kind of awards, we all got kind of like, oh, we have to go again. Like, I always got excited because I was always that kid that wanted, like I said, I always wanted to run a 5-star hotel. So I never took it for granted. But, you didn't have the same, I don't think I'm going to have the same feeling when I go again. I think I'm going to be, because a lot of those people aren't going to be in the room. There's going to be a lot of new people in the room, because a lot of those people had to leave the industry to feed their family. Yeah. And it's just going to be a really tremendous feeling to know. And I also want to say that opening your hotel was really oxygen for New York City's hotel, because it's like, okay, they're doing it well, they're doing it safely. Yeah, it's really important. So it's a really touchstone.
Absolutely. I think definitely, I put a document together for the reopening that I have shared with my counterparts in the city, right? I share with everybody. This is not a competition, guys. This is, we're on this together. If there's any best practice that I can share with you, any feedback after what I've implemented, because at the end, this document that we have is a moving document, right? We are continuing updating it based on what we know, based on the voice of the customer, understanding what is new from the CDC or the Hotel Association. I think that if anybody can really get the benefit of what we have put together, definitely I would be more than happy to share.
Manuel, how have your policies, procedures, and your general expectations changed since reopening? Because after all, like you said, it is a learning process and things to go on. So what's something that really surprised you, perhaps? And what are some of the things that you learned that you should be doing a little bit differently?
Yeah, I think in terms of room cleanliness, I think that the most interesting thing is that there are guests who just allow our housekeeping team to get into the room and clean the room, of course, with all the protective equipment on, and whenever the guest is not in the room, and they are fine with that. But I can tell you as well that there are some of the customers that they do not let us anybody into the room. They don't get us into the room. Right. They just require maybe some fresh towels that we deliver at their convenience, and they don't, we respect that. So basically, with all guests in house, we always try to agree that what time they want the room be serviced in the morning. And if they don't want the room to be serviced, definitely we provide the linen and terry according to their needs. So I think that this is, and I can tell you probably around 30 to 40% of the guests, mainly those who are only coming for a couple of days, right, 2 or 3 days, right? They don't want the room to be touched by anybody. Another thing that we are doing in regards of room service, we give the option to our guests to get the disposable containers in the guest room, but we deliver as well everything in our normal china with linen, cutlery, silver, and glassware. Everything is definitely properly cleaned and disinfected, and we give the option to the guests to deliver everything up to their guest room or suite, or we can just leave it at the door based on their comfort, their peace of mind, and their convenience. So what it's all about, it's just to deliver up to the guests' preferences and expectations.
So outside of room service, are there any food and beverage options in the hotel, or right now there are restrictions?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because I think it was July the 6th when the indoor dining should have been allowed in New York City, right? But it was finally decided that it will not happen for the time being. So at that time, we had already ordered a beautiful tables and chairs that now we have located in our 77th Street by our main entrance of the hotel. We have a beautiful outdoor seating.
Awesome.
So we are offering room service for all our guests, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we're serving as well outdoor in 77th Street, and very soon in Madison Avenue, we're adding more seating because there's demand, and we're doing good. And I'm very optimistic about it because, as I shared before with you, many of our local neighbors of Upper East Side are coming to the restaurant very often. So as you will know, maybe from September, when everybody will be hopefully back from vacations, I know I'm going to see a great demand for our Jean George restaurant in both 77th Street and Madison Avenue. So,
wait, so I understand. So the restaurant is out on the street, and you did something where you can eat out on the street in front of the hotel?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Glenn, let's do the show from his hotel tomorrow.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right.
Come on over.
Let's do it.
All right, we'll figure it out after air. But Manuel, I got a question here. Can you provide an example of one or two feedback you might have received from employees that improved your existing COVID operating plan?
Great question.
Yeah, I am very close. My team is very close to all employees. Right at the end, I want to meet every single guest on arrival. I follow up complaints if any. I'm very down to the operation in that sense. But the ones who are spending more time with the guests are our employees, especially the housekeeping team, are the ones who are providing more feedback from our guests. There, I can tell you that we have put a very thorough plan in place. Pretty much all customers feel very good what we have been put in motion, and the only thing that we are doing differently based on the guest feedback is about our beautiful hot dog car. You know that we have on the street as well, not only the outdoor seating, we have hot dog kiosk outside, and many of our guests, because they saw the menu on the TV, they say, "Is there any chance that we can get one of the hot dogs upstairs in the room, because they're not in the menu," right? So it's not the feedback related to anything about the COVID. It's just customers that they have seen the hot dog car outside. They have not seen the hot dog option on the menu. We're delivering that to them. But in terms of sanitation, disinfection, and safety in the hotel, I think that our guests really feel that we're doing the things right. And I would say maybe the only feedback that we get, it's about working with a digital pad where basically the guests can order everything through the iPad from the laundry, through the room service, chat with the concierge. We don't have that. Definitely, we have those conversations in the past. But I think as well, when you put so much technology into place, which I know that maybe this is the future, you miss this personal connection with the guests, right? And I think that, yes, indeed, we are used to take our iPhone, our iPad, and do everything online. But I think that whenever you have a professional skill person on the other side of the phone suggesting you what you have for dinner, what is the best pairing for your dinner in room service, or what are the options available if you want to go outside and explore the city, it really makes a big difference rather than to have it in a electronic device.
And I think that's well said. And if you're at different hotels, the reason you want technology is because you don't want to deal with problems, right? So we've all been trained, unfortunately, in a lot of hotels that if I call room service, I'm going to be on hold. If I check in, I'm going to wait online. Right. So give me things to just make things go faster. When you're at a hotel like the Mark, I'm actually much not challenging of a guest at hotels like that, but I demand more. So I don't want to use a pad. I want to call. This is what I want to say. I want to say, hi, I want some room service. I don't care. Send me up what you think is the best, and send me up some really good dessert and the best scotch you have. Thank you so much. And a very well-trained employee would not ask. The only thing they would ask is, do you have any allergies?
Yeah.
And if you say no, they'd say, thank you very much. Thank you for your trust. And they would give us, that's what I expect from a hotel. Yeah. I don't want technology because I trust that you are not going to impede my experience. By not talking to you, you're going to take away from my experience if I use technology.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. And I think that part of this first-class service that we provide at the Mark is the personalization of our service. We have customers that they are proud to say that they are friends. They're part of the family of the Mark because they've been coming here for so long that everybody have seen their kids growing up and they know very well all their preferences. And I think that this personal touch is what it makes our industry very unique and very special. I think, another thing that it's important for me, I think, is that the Mark is one of the last luxury hotels still in private hands. As I said before, Mr. Elias and Mr. Sembahar, the owners of the hotel, really are hands-on and they really understand that the needs of the guests is important for them. Whatever there's an impact on their culture, on the team, on the staff, whatever a guest require, there's no hesitation, and we just go and buy it if we don't have it in-house. It's about making things, maintain our culture, I would say, of delivering above expectations and deliver first-class service. But I think it's as well our culture of simplicity, sophistication, and quality. It's not about, Mr. Smith in room 254 wants to get this. We don't have it in-house. We don't even ask. We just go and we get it for the guests. I think that this, along with our unparalleled service and the well-known of our guests, is what it really makes us unique and special, right? I think it's
one of the things when I ran the Algonquin Hotel, we had the Oak Room, right? The Oak Room was this famous cabaret, and it was really like the people that came to were New Yorkers who can afford to pay on a Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, $500 to see somebody sing, between dinner and everything else. And what I told my staff was the people that we're taking into our room they bought it, they sold it, they invented it. You're not impressing them with things, chandeliers and pens. You're not impressing them. Matter of fact, that's just going to annoy them because they can buy it. They probably invented it.
Exactly. We have the same approach to that. When I talk to my teams, I always tell them, yes, we have a beautiful design furniture in our guest room. We have 65 inches flat TVs, phenomenal, with an amazing sound. Yeah, most of our guests have that at home as well, right? So they have beautiful sofas, beautiful couches, beautiful armchairs, beautiful TVs, right? I think what it really put a nice touch on top of all these FF&E, right? The furniture and equipment, it's us. It's how the employees, is how everybody really put the experience on the floor every single day, right? I think that it's the most important thing that we have is creating never-ending memories for our guests, right? Be on top of the guests, and I think that the Mark has been doing a phenomenal job on that. We even I don't know if you know, but we have what we call the Woof Woof Kit. That you can imagine that this is a beautiful program that we have for the dogs. That it's really unique. We have coloring books for the kids. We have a beautiful book case with branded pencils. We have laid out the ice skating rink in our penthouse for last holiday season in December.
Wow.
We do whatever we have to do to make our guests happy. And, now that we're back on track, now that it's still good, at the end of summer, but still we have some weeks ahead, our guests are kind of still enjoying our sailboat. We have a sailboat that it's basically running through the Hudson River from Tribeca. That this is where the boat is located all the way up. And I think that this complemented with the catering of Jean George is what it really makes the Mark really unique. It's not only the things that we have, is the way that we put the things, way that we put the things in motion.
So Manuel, let me ask you this: does luxury change from all of this, or what people perceive luxury to be, and how do you adapt to that? Or maybe it's just that things are constantly changing.
Yeah, I think that luxury it has to be a rounded experience, right? Luxury is not only the beautiful design or not only the beautiful food. It has to go along with the service. I think that luxury is going to change, but it's going to change because the customers who are customers who like luxury experience are going to be able to still have those luxury experiences, and they want to have them personalized to them. I think nowadays we're not going to be able to deliver or cater for 50, 100, 150 people, right? So all the experience have to be really personalized, and I think that we are expert on doing that. Believe it or not, we have already celebrated 2 weddings in the hotel. No big weddings, right? There were a couple who have already plans and they couldn't make it happen. So we have organized in our beautiful penthouse a couple of wedding ceremonies. So this is what I'm talking about. It's opportunities to continue creating these type of experiences in a more reduced and more personalized way.
What do you see the role of the concierge coming out of COVID or during COVID? What do you think the role of the concierge is?
Well, we have the best concierge in New York City. Isabel Hogan, our chef concierge, really makes everything possible. And I think nowadays there are customers who are calling us and say, what I'm going to do in New York because Broadway is not open yet. Yeah, Broadway is not open yet, but there are a lot of things to do in New York City. The Mark Hotel is located in the best shopping area of New York City, in Madison Avenue, where basically all luxury shops are located. We are walking distance to Central Park. We deliver a picnic on the park that it's organized definitely by our concierge, and the food is made in-house by Jean Georges' team. The Met Gala, minutes away from the hotel. And I think it's still a good opportunity to see New York City without the accumulation of this big crowd of tourists that, by the way, we need them and we want them back.
Of course.
But there's always a lot of beautiful places where to explore in the city. And there are a lot of New Yorkers, there are a lot of people that they're coming from the tri-state area, Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York, that they are coming, they're doing a staycation in the hotel, they are pampering themselves. We organize massage treatments in the room. They have a nice dinner in room service provided by Jean Georges. We organize for them local activities with private guides. So this is still possible in New York City, right?
So are you the general manager or are you the chef concierge? Chef concierge.
A good friend of mine, whose name is Herman Elger, told me that as a general manager, you have to get an overall and general knowledge of everything, right? And I think that I have to know where to send my guests if they ask me where to go.
Right. You have to, as a general manager, you have to generally manage, so you have to know that. And
absolutely,
I'm a concierge at heart as well. And the reason I asked that specific question about that specific job description, because there are some hotels, some even 5-star hotels, that are going away from the concierge. And there's one thing that I would never go back to a hotel. If I stayed at a 5-star hotel and I paid those rates, and I went downstairs and you didn't have a concierge, you would never get my business again. Ever.
Absolutely. This is where you start missing the personalization of the service. Otherwise, you just can use your phone, Google restaurants where to go, and you just pick one based on someone else's review. But you're not going to have the knowledge of someone who really knows the restaurant, who knows the city, who know who you are, who know what you like, right?
More importantly, not more important, but just as importantly, is when you think of the Mark or you think of the other 5-star hotels,
right?
What is the brand? The brand is that concierge that I remember. So if that concierge is off duty, that other person better be as good, because I'm really bought into that person. Not so much the Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every single time that person changes, or I go to the front desk, or I go to the housekeeping, that person's basically the same person.
You're right.
Not the Mark. The Mark means nothing. What means something is the spirit of that person that understands the mission. And
exactly.
So that one concierge that walks away and gets another concierge, if they're not the same philosophy and the same spirit, the Mark is lost.
Yeah. And Anthony, it's not only that our concierge team can recommend you exactly what you need, is that they can get you in, which is another point, right?
That's the biggest point. Listen, you know as well as I know, like I said, the boy still invented it. Just get me in. I said this since I'm about 9 years old.
Right.
I had no access. I said I never wanted fame. I never wanted fortune. It's never something I chase. To this day, I don't chase it.
Right.
I just want access. I want to call, if my friends come to New York City and they say, hey, where should I stay? And I can call you and say, stay at the Mark Hotel. And you put a little card in their room when they go to the room, and they go, hey, they really hooked us up, Anthony. Thank you. To me, that's worth more than money. Excuse me. That's worth more than money. It's access.
And I think what is very important as well is that I always say to my team, we always have to thank the guests for staying with us, right? Now that we are on the only luxury hotel open, but even before, I think that we really have to understand that the guests have options where to go, and we really have to work hard for them, deliver above expectations, and really make sure that we thank them for the staying with us.
Right.
I think it's part of our hospitality is provide the warm welcome and the fun farewell, and really make sure that we thank them.
Yeah, right? I remember when there was a princess staying in the Plaza when I was the director of operations, front office operations at the Plaza. She wanted some kind of fruit, and this fruit didn't exist because I think we were in the middle of winter or whatever it was.
Right.
There was an understanding that we're going to get it. Right. There was an understanding. No one said, well, where, how, whatever. I remember going to the concierge and said, this is what they're looking for. He didn't say, oh, that's difficult. He said, my pleasure. I don't know if you know Carlos over at the International Hotel. Carlos, the concierge over there, the chef concierge, he's amazing. But they said, we'll take care of it. I don't know where they got it from. I don't know what country they had to fly to in 30 seconds to get it. But they got it, and it was an impossible task.
Yeah, I think that
feeling.
Right. The amazing thing about the concierge work is that the association is behind them, the Cledor, right? Yeah. I think that they connect, they have their network, they have their friends all over the world, and through one person, you're always going to get what you need.
That's pretty That's pretty cool. Speaking about getting what you need, a lot of people want to have your job. What are some tips that you have for folks that really want to become a general manager of a luxury hotel in a major city around the world?
Well, I would say that how I managed my career, it was always looking for more, and working from the back of the house to the front of the house, understanding how the hotel operation works. Studying at the same time, I was lucky, but I worked hard as well, working and studying at the same time. And when I came to New York the first time in 2005, I was able to study in NYU and Cornell University, which definitely you need to get all the operational side, but definitely you need as well to get your studies that they back you up. The most important thing is raise your hand. Never be complacent, never be on the comfort zone. Always ask for the +1, that whenever we're going through the Forbes training with their phenomenal team, with Jeff Virgopolan, Jennifer, or any of the other members of the group, right? You know them well. It's always the +1. What else can you do for the guests? What else can you do for yourself? And this is a thing that when you have, some sort of target and you want to achieve something, I think that there's always great leaders, great mentors out there who are going to see the potential in you, and they're always going to give you more things to do in order to help you to develop your skills. I was lucky enough that I have worked with great professionals in my career in Europe and the United States, and I think that without them, probably I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, I was just saying to the kids I was just talking to this morning, and they're from all around the world, and I said, do a little bit more, you go a lot further. And right. You said, raise your hand. Like when they give you that project, I literally said these words this morning. When they give you that project, if you're saying, well, they give me all the projects, but my counterpart who makes just as much money as I do doesn't get all these projects, and they're always giving me the projects. You know why? Because they know you're going to handle the project.
Exactly.
Like, exactly. Raise your hand is the most important thing that you can do, but you have to do it from a way, like I said, not a passion or a love, a need. You have a need to be in that hotel. You have a need to do your job. Like for you to look at another hotel, if another hotel would have won that award, you'd have been great. And you would have sent them a note and your colleague, congratulations. But you'd be like, okay, how do I do that? Like, how do I do that? And that's a need to just want to be the best. And you can't train it. You really can't. You've got to want it. And then everything else can be trained. And do a little more, you go a lot further.
And this is another key word, is the training, right? Because at the end, we can teach, we can coach people, we can train them, and maybe the first time they're not going to do it right. So I have this philosophy at work that a complaint is a gift if we screw something with the guest, and if something is not done properly, it's a learning experience for our managers or our list to make sure that the next time they do it better, right? And in order to help them to do it better next time, you need to spend time with them. You cannot really manage your business from your office. You have to be on the floor. You have to have your meetings with them. You have to pay attention to what's going on in the hotel. Use your 5 senses, put it in operation, and really make sure that you have a daily coach mentoring on the floor. And definitely, I think what is very important in our job is recognition. It should be in every single work, right? And there are people who are working very hard in here, putting a lot of hours, spending more time in here than with their families. I think recognition is a big piece of our industry.
So that leads me into the question of this. What led you to this job? I want to know, like, how you first heard about it, how you were first contacted, and why do you think, what was the thing in the process that you were the only person they would select? And by the way, it's a good luck charm for me, because that's where I had breakfast when I got the general manager job at the Algonquin. I was sitting with Keith Kefchin from HVS, and I was sitting in the restaurant. And so I always go there when I feel like I need a little luck. So what is your, give me a little bit of that story. I know we're going to wrap up soon, but give me a little bit of that story.
And also, how long have you been GM of this property?
Almost a year now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I have left behind almost 20 years working for Starwood Hotels and Resorts, and then definitely for Marriott. That is a company that bought Starwood around 3-4 years ago, right? So I'm very grateful of all the development that I have in my time in Starwood and then Marriott. I managed to meet great people in the industry. I met Mr. Marriott himself and also his son David, great gentleman. But this opportunity came up. I'm not going to tell you the source, but someone threw my name out there for this job. I was not thinking about leaving Ritz-Carlton, but this opportunity came, and I think that there was maybe the right timing in my career when I have, over 20 years of experience in luxury environment and 2 roles as a general manager. I thought that maybe it was the right time to try an independent hotel, privately owned, right? Yep. But as I said, great timing in both Starwood and Marriott. I learned a lot. They are part of my success and my development. And I decided to come to this hotel because, it's the mark, right? You can't say no to the mark. It's a beautiful hotel. It's phenomenal. For those who have never been in here, I would like to encourage them all to pass by the neighborhood and see how vibrant is Upper East Side. This at the end is, my first hotel in Upper East Side. I work in another 3 amazing hotels Midtown, but this area is a micro market within the New York market. And I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, it's a great market. And what's interesting about what you said is people don't understand that aren't in the business. When you're in a luxury brand, especially one as famous and as well known as Ritz-Carlton, you spent 20 years and you really grew up with that, and they made you who you are. They really helped define your role and who you are. To go to an independent hotel away from a big brand, like people understand that decision-making process is so important, but it's probably quick because you said the words that make me believe it was a pretty quick decision because it's the mark.
Yeah.
And so as much as you've been building your brand, they've been building their brand. So all the people that were doing it before you made you realize like it's the mark. And like if it doesn't work out, I'll go do something else. But like it's the mark. If you're not going to take a risk on the mark, what are you going to take a risk on?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's I'm not going to say that things are easy right now. We have to make things happen, right? If you cannot just go straight and face the hurdle that you have in front of you, you just have to go around, right? But nowadays it's all about making things happen, work with the team, never around the team, and deliver, right? And
did you have a chance to meet Horst Schulze and spend time with Horst Schulze?
Never met him personally, unfortunately.
Did you see him on our show a couple weeks ago?
Yes, I saw that.
So let me ask you this. In the last 5 months during this crisis, what have you learned about yourself and what have you learned about being a better general manager?
Oh, good question.
Thanks.
What I've learned about myself, I learned that I miss my family a lot. And I'll tell you why. Because when this opportunity to come back to New York came up, I was in DC area. And my wife and the kids are still in there. We had plans to come over here at the end of the school year, so at the end of June. But we put everything on hold because of the pandemic, right? Everything is very volatile. We don't really know what's going to happen. So I miss them a lot, right? And it's tough to be here away from them, working Monday to Friday or doing 2 weeks straight and then spending the weekend with them. So it's challenging, but it's what it is. At the end, I always say to my 2 boys, Daniel and Javier, when I'm leaving home, that is very lucky that he has a job, and hopefully we're gonna be together anytime soon. As well, my wife, right? That she's now handling a lot of work with 2 boys and potentially facing homeschooling the next year. So that's challenging, right?
Yep. Terrific. All right. How about any final thoughts from you, Manuel, before we wrap up today's show?
Any final thoughts?
And plug the mark as well.
Also, Manuel, I just want to say as a hotelier, we need you. Being away from your family and your children, your wife, I mean, it's crushing because you're so as a person that puts so much into their work. The one thing that you get relief from is when you go upstairs. You're home, you open up the door, and then everything washes away. So, so thank you for being there. Thank you for being there for New York. Thank you for being there for your employees. It's a great sacrifice to yourself, and it's appreciated.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Manuel. We really appreciate you being here, and we're going to get over and do a live show from outside your great place.
Yeah. hotel? I forgot. What hotel was just rated #1 hotel in?
Oh yeah. What
What was
was
the name of
that?
that
Let me tell you something.
Awesome. Congratulations.
No.
Is there anything bigger? I mean, that's it, man. I mean,
Well, it's it, but I have 2 of them.
So, all right, Manuel, I know that was our last question, but I'm asking you one more. How did it feel to get that phone call or email or fax or carrier pigeon that delivered you the message that you were the #1 hotel?
yeah, where were you when that happened?
Yeah, I mean that award really means the world to all of us, right? It's a huge honor that we don't take lightly. It came probably in the most challenging time for everybody, but I look at this positively, and I really think that it's coming as well at the right time, because at the end it makes us be everywhere, and for everybody to know, just in case if they were not aware, how amazing and how beautiful is the Mark Hotel, and what a phenomenal team put this together, and what amazing team I have working with me in here, delivering first-class service to all guests, right? I think it's just a tribute for all of them.
Where were you when it happened? Where were you when you found out?
I was at home in DC area. Yeah,
And
I was there.
they called you. Like, tell us the process. Like, they called you. What happened?
Yeah. Actually, I received an email from Travel and Leisure, and they told me that basically one secret that I was not at liberty to share with anybody, but in the next edition of the World Best Awards, the Mark will be awarded with the best hotel in New York and the best hotel in continental North America. So definitely I share that with the hotel owners, right? Because at the end, this is their award as well. They have been working really, really hard to really make things happen.
Did you cry?
Did
you cry? I just want to know if you cry. Are you a crier?
No, I didn't cry. But I was very excited about that. Unfortunately, I was thinking as well, wow, we're not gonna, where it hurts me the most, and I'm gonna be very frank with you, that I have been unable to celebrate everything with all my team in here,
Right?
Because we cannot do big events, right? But I think that this would have been a phenomenal opportunity to gather everybody who make this thing happen, because at the end, this is not my award, right? This is everyone's award. They did it together. We did it all together, and this belongs to them.
Right, and that's the type of attitude that makes it #1 hotel in the United States. Manuel, thank you again for being here, and we'll see you real soon in New York City.
See you soon.
Oh no!
Where did you get the mask from? You can put it in private chat if you don't want to tell everybody, but if you want to tell, because I want to get those masks from my company. So where'd you get them?
I will connect you with the person who made the mask for us.
Send me in the private chat. Okay.
I will.
Right. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Wow. What a great show. Things seem to be improving a little bit right now. Everyone seems to have good vibes. In fact, let me just put up here a little note that we got from Daniel. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to boom. He had a big wedding over the weekend. The mood was the best I've seen. People are trusting us again. He said that a little bit when Manuel was talking about building the trust with the customer. I think that's really exciting to hear stuff like that.
There was a question from someone, and I want to find it, and it said something that, oh, here it is. Azul, I think her name is.
Yeah.
Can you put that up there?
This one?
Yeah, that one. I just had an interview for a service limited hotel for a director of sales position. But they were concerned that my background in luxury, so that they decided to go to different. How does this make any sense? Not to mention, I have 20 years experience in industry. Luxury hotels in Houston are not hiring, so I had to make it a different route. A couple things. One, because they're intimidated a little bit because they're feeling, and I've been in this position. I've seen
Interesting.
That you're going to come in and you're going to set a standard that they're not going to be able to deliver for two reasons. One, they don't want to deliver that because it's not what they do. It's not their DNA. The employees don't come from that, so they don't understand it. And number two, you're going to be frustrated because it doesn't have that level. So you didn't do something in that meeting to convince them that that is not going to be a problem. Because if you came into my limited service hotel, I would be blessed, beyond blessed, that you came in and you have all this knowledge. But I might not hire you, honestly, because I'm like, you got to give me reasons why you won't become frustrated. When things turn around, if they turn around in 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 6 weeks, and all of a sudden a luxury hotel down the block opens up, you're going to leave. So I put all this time and effort into you, and now you're going to leave me. So if you convinced me, and you can say, yes, I'm going to leave in 3 months or 6 months or 8 months. But in those 8 months, this is what I'm going to do. And this is what I'm going to help. And I'm not going to be frustrated. And this is why. So don't blame them for being upset with you or not hiring you because you're overqualified. Understand why, and that's why. And so next time you're in that position, it's your job to change their mind or to convince them and to be honest with them. Because if you said to me, if I said to you, a 5-star hotel opens up a year after you take this job and it's paying more money, and I said to you, would you take that position? And you said no, you're a liar, and I wouldn't hire you.
Right.
Of course you would. And I would want you to. But I would want to learn from you and maybe what you can bring to my limited service hotel. So
Maritza says it's actually a blessing in disguise, which is always a possibility because you may not have gone down a path that may not have made you happy.
Right, exactly. And it's not so much they didn't say no to you. If they were running a 5-star hotel, they probably would have hired you. They said no to the circumstances of your experience, and which is understandable. I would never walk away from talent, 5-star or 1-star. I would never walk away from a talented person. You have to do something in that interview to make them understand that if you walked out, their life is over.
Well, you made a great point there, though, Anthony. And interestingly enough, sometimes we have an inability is the real word that I'm trying to use there to separate how people tell us about whether or not we're right for a job with how we are as human beings. And too many times we internalize that, and it's not personal 99% of the time.
Right. Because it's for them. They didn't say there's no way they said no to you. They said no to the situation. Maybe they had insecurity. So that's really important for you to understand. Is if you give me $1,000, I'm going to take $1,000. But what do I have to do to deal with that $1,000? Are you going to be in my office every 5 seconds telling me that the eggs aren't great? Well, I know that the eggs aren't great because the people are paying $50, not $500, and we're giving them best quality based on our price point. Yeah, but it's just not good. You know what? I know that. I don't need you to tell me that. Okay. So on the other hand, I would want to know within the confines of our budget, within the confines of our staff and what we do, what can you do now I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to say, you know what, Miss 5-star person, you think luxury? Well, the hard part is not to deliver 5-star hotels to a 5-star guest. The hard part is to deliver 5-star service to a 3-star guest. If you can do that within budget, give me a plan and give me a 30, 60, 90-day plan, I'll hire you. But I want you to write it out, and I want you to challenge yourself. And then if you can do that, I'll hire you. Great.
Well, thank you, Azul, for your interest in watching us. Anthony, great advice always. I absolutely love it. So, wow, it's already 1:15. Let's wrap this thing up. What do you say? Any final thoughts? You want to tell us a little bit about what's going on with Hospitality Success this week?
You can't tell that when I get a real hotel, not a real, but a hotelier that I can relate to.
Freaking love it.
It's like, does anything else bring me today? So far, I talked to students that won a competition that are the best and brightest. I spoke to the one of the best general managers on the face of the earth. It's like, this is what inspires me. And it's like, everything's going to come back. And the mark being opened is really important. Yeah. It's really, really important. If we can say we have a luxury property open in New York, that says something. Could you imagine saying there are no luxury properties opening in New York? Like, there are people getting massages, and there are people, experiencing great cuisine on the streets of New York, and it's just so important. And the question you asked him about, tell us something you sacrificed and tell him something that was great. And when he talking about his family, tell me that didn't stop you in your tracks. I mean,
totally.
That really made me cry inside, and because you realize the pain. And so when people say, oh, he's so lucky, he's so lucky, he's so lucky, he kept on saying how fortunate he was, but how hard he worked. Right. A lot of people making sacrifices. A lot of people make sacrifices away from their family. But when you look at a guy like that, you say, oh, he's so lucky. He's making sacrifices like everyone else.
Yeah, that's right. And to think it's the exact opposite of what happened to us, Anthony. We were grounded. We are spending more time with our families. That has been, for me personally, probably the most positive thing that has come out of this whole situation is really getting to be home and build important relationships at home. So my heart goes out to him for not being around them and having this whole thing.
So let me ask you a question. What is the one thing that you learned about your children specifically that helped you become a better father during this pandemic, and what won't you do anymore? Like, what's the one thing you would not feed into anymore? Like you refuse to do, and you realize that you saw a spark in your kids, or you did something. What is there anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, I see some of the things that really they have the potential to be passionate about. So it's given me an opportunity to try to focus that passion in order to get them to be more interested, in order to get to the next level on their own without me having to push themselves, trying to teach them how to get into that zone to keep moving forward, even when you don't have a dad or a mom nagging you.
You know, it's interesting because I just had this conversation with myself this morning, whereas my children are all in college now, and 2 are graduating this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I said something to my daughter who's entering college, and she goes, "Dad, I'm not going to do it if you ask me to do it or tell me to do it. Leave me alone." It's like, well, I haven't talked about it in like a year. Like, I've never mentioned. I'm saying to myself, I was like, okay, no problem. I'm sorry, whatever. I was like, but I know I haven't been nagging you or mentioning it to them. But then I said to myself, how am I? And the one thing that I have that I cannot get rid of, and it is something that will be with me the day I die and the last breath I take, is don't tell me what to do.
Right.
Like, there's something about me, even when I was younger, that like if you say, hey, go work out, I'm probably not going to go work out on purpose. I don't know what it is. It's like if you say, hey, Anthony, you need another TV show. Matter of fact, today, when people say to me, Anthony, you haven't been on TV, it's like, as you know what's going on and how we're working on it. But up until that point, for 2 or 3 years, I had no interest in it. So when people said to me, Anthony, you got to get a new TV show, I was disgusted when they said that. Because I'm serious, because my value to you, just the TV show, go screw yourself. Like, I'm happy and I'm doing what I want to do and I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and it annoyed me. And I almost tripled down to not. Like, I almost got like just like, now I'm not going to do one. And I don't know. Right. But that, like, so that's really important. So I'm glad you said that, because I learned that about myself. It's like, okay, listen, it's going to be what it's going to be. They're going to do what they're going to do.
That's true.
So much.
Anthony, I think people just love watching you do what you do on TV, and they would like to see more of it. So
you're working on something.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. All those. Don't forget about our podcast version of the show, our audio only version. Great for when you're out exercising, walking the dog, and the few of you that have a commute left out there. So check that out. Find it at the Checking In with Anthony and Glenn feed on iTunes. Sure, our show's No Vacancy Live, but we're keeping it real by calling it Checking In with Anthony and Glenn on there as well. Subscribe to our newsletter. Text the word hotel to 66866. And go check out Hospitality Success for Anthony. Yes, sir.
And I'll be dropping something on my social media in the next few days that I'm working in hand in hand with AHOA on. And it's basically talking to our Congress men and women. And so I'm going to drop a video, and I would like you to share it with anyone you know that has any influence in Congress. We obviously, AHOA has a lot of influence in Congress, but the more people that can help us get the word out about the things that we're talking about in the video, the better. So as hoteliers, please, if you see that video, I don't give a crap about my social media numbers. I just want you to share it. I want you to retweet it. I want you to do what you need to do, because we got to get the word out. When you look at, listen, we're in the food and beverage business. We're in the convention business. We're in all the business. But when you hear the word hotel, it's not what is on everybody's mind. The food and beverage, restaurants, bars, conventions, groups, but you don't hear the word hotel too much. Right. So on these news, we're going to be on a lot of programs, hopefully coming up soon. We've got to get the word hotel out there. We've got to let them know this is run by small mom and pop owners, not the big brands. So please, when you see that video, will come out in the next few days, please repost it and please share it.
Yes, and we will be showing it here as well. And also, producer Dave, we didn't even realize it, but Curtis is saying Dan Cockrell's book finally came out. I can't believe it's already mid August. He did say it was coming out mid-August. We got to get him back on the show. We promised that, so we'll work on that. All right, Anthony, let's wrap this up. Remember, guys, it's all up to you. You've got one life, so blaze on and
take care of yourself.